Well, it's been a hot minute. I won't lie, I did not mean to be gone for that long. I kind of think it's warp shenanigans or something like that. It's also just my life got ridiculously differently busy. Not necessarily like busy in the sense of a lot going on, but you know how it is. But welcome back. I have now decided on a schedule and a structure to my life, more so, which should enable me to be able to constantly engage with this hobby in a way that is, you know, keeps me motivated and so on and so forth. You're gonna have to forgive the shadows. It is currently 6 o'clock in Britain, and for those of you who know Britain, that means it's pitch black outside because apparently it's not even December, but 6 o'clock equals nighttime. Anyways, what have I been doing? Well, a lot of you may hate me for this, who maybe have seen the older episodes. He's still this color scheme. A lot of the planned sort of Primaris stuff I was doing, I haven't actually got round to doing. In the last few months, I haven't really been doing too much hobbying. However, that has all changed in the last few days. And I plan to keep it that way. Like, keep it the way of, you know, being productive. Because I can't remember if I showed this in the last video or when this happened or whatever. But I've pursued the one thing I've wanted to pursue for I don't even know how long, which is my favorite legion, the Night Lords. I know he's a bit too pale. That will get fixed at some point, but I liked what it was. I haven't painted the rims. That's the only bit I haven't actually gone around and done. I will do that once I have a full army complete sort of thing. But I'm on course to have this done maybe by 2027. No. But this is the foundation of my new force. I have some lore that I've written. What I will be discussing is that at some point, I'll probably do that in a separate video where I do a voiceover and just have a picture in the background. You know, kind of like how Winter's SEO does his style of narrative storytelling, where he just has a picture of his models in the back and talks over it in a short story. Because I have a lot of excitement with this. So, this is one of the leaders of 24th Company, also known as the Ravenous Maw. They are a Night Lords warband, who, after the death of Kurz, basically in the light of a lot of the growing infighting, kind of snuck away. This is me very briefly summing it up, but there was already a lot of infighting in the Night Lords, a lot of dissent, a lot of problems. But they basically said, you know what, we're out. It was actually the leader of 8th Claw, Artem Murosk. This is not Artem Murosk. He was the sergeant of 8th Claw, 24th Company, who said, I am going to usurp my commanders, speak to a few people, get a few allies on side. But this is going to be where my Night Lords army begins. They are my favorite legion, them and the Alpha Legion. Doing a lot of thinking of that lately, and I think the Night Lords probably just take the cake, because the Alpha Legion, sometimes it gets a bit tedious with them because of the whole in and out shenanigans. You know how it is. However, that is not the only Night Lords model I've painted. I've painted the first 2 models of... I think I'm going to run these as Legionnaires. They are Phobos scale. There is a reason for that, which I will get onto in a moment. But there's one of them. And this guy, who I've literally just finished, that's why the base is still drying, is a second. I do have the others down here. Oh, the focusing. They are only primed. I think I need to go at them from this angle though, because on this one, who is probably my favorite simple kit bash I've done, he's an intercessor with, you know, shark fin head. Just stick that on the backpack. Give him a chaos arm and the iron hands upgrade, I believe that is, gun. I need to shave the Aquila off of that, or I'll just I'll knife through it to make it look like it's been desecrated. But the whole gimmick with these guys is when the Night Lords split up, they run away into, you know, as Night Lords tend to do, run away to the Eastern Fringe. And then they basically bode their time. I've also got 2 Warp Talons, which, again, my plan is basically when I every day, at least 5 days a week, or 4 or 5 days a week, get 1 model done. Because that way it's slow progress, and after that I can start, once I get faster with it, I can start building up into a fast pace. This guy's the Sergeant, he's got the plume. I can't find the rest of the Warp Talons, but they are around somewhere. But they ran away to the Eastern Fringe, and they found a world, and they were like, yo, we're just going to base ourselves here, wait for things to cool off a bit, and then start scouring and, you know, just hunting. And we think we can do this whole we are the Lords of Justice better than the Chaos Legions can, and the Imperium can. So, effectively, these guys, you know, they splintered off. Some time passed, there was a warp storm, which meant time sped up. So for them, it's only really been like maybe 100, 200 years since, maybe 300 since Kurz came about. Sorry, since Kurz left. However, because of warp storm time shenanigans, they're now in the 41st millennium. Yes, I know warp storms are a pretty cheap way to say time passed. I just didn't want them to be in the warp, because whilst there will be some who are very warp exposed, I mean, I have warp talents for Pete's sake, not all of them will be. And basically, then when they come back, the Imperium scouts out this world, so they go into hiding. They're like, what are the Imperium doing? Can we maybe let them build some industry and then, you know, steal the stuff and get some goods? Imperium comes along, oh, what's this? It's a world, we'll colonize it. Because the Night Lords basically go underground, because the Imperium's like, oh, there's this old Chaos Fortress, we'll have to destroy that. They establish a Primaris chapter there. However, using Chaos Sorcery, this guy who is going to be like the Chief Librarian equivalent, I can't remember what that's called for Chaos, like Chief Sorcerer or whatever it is, starts manipulating behind the scenes. And basically he ends up, this is very long story short, there's a few skirmishes, and eventually the Primaris basically go, oh, well, you know, thing, and the Night Lords whittle them down, until there's a very small number left. And the Night Lords come in and go, yo, you work for us now. And they're like, no. And basically they mentally mess with them, use some warp magic. Haven't fully fleshed that bit out yet. But that's why these Marines, who are Primaris Marines, essentially are Night Lords. And there is this guy here, and he plays a pivotal role in the success of this. The shadow focus really doesn't like him. So this is a Fabius Bile conversion. I gave him a blade instead of his cane and a Sons of Horus head. But this guy, if memory serves, I think the sorcerer I've named Zimiar. I haven't given this guy a name yet. But what he does is he messes with like technology and gene seed and things, and plays around with it, and effectively creates what's called, and this is where they get their nickname from, the Ravager virus. So they're called the Ravaging Maw because the Ravager virus basically means with a gene seed, it's if you take a bit of Night Lord gene seed and a bit of, let's say, Blood Angel's gene seed and splice them, you create this hybrid which effectively has the interests of the Night Lords at their core. So that way the Night Lords can still have Night Lords through Primaris. Now on the tabletop, I'm not planning, like, long in the future, maybe I would have a Primaris equivalent, like army, but I'm focusing on the Chaos Space Marine side of things now. I just like converting Primaris Marines because I think they're really nice to work with. But that's pretty much the gist. That's the quick summary. I will say, shout out to the Sons of Horus heads. These things, like, my Warp Talons use these heads. He uses one of these heads. I saw them when I was at my local GW, and I was like, yo, they look kind of cool. And I bought them. So I've been using them. As I say, because in my eyes, they look quite cool. And rule of cool, you have to make your hobby look cool. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist. If I put my camera up here, you can see I've organized what was my paint box into just model box, in hopes that, you know, if I get bored, I go, this guy, paint him up, or this guy, paint him up. With the whole Primaris thing, I'm not too sure. Maybe if I want a refresher, I'll just paint a random chapter. Not really too settled on that. And one thing I'm trying really hard to work on is the whole lightning. I don't want to overdo it, but at the same time, I find it really satisfying to do. Like, this guy's got nowhere near as much as the new guy, but this guy I went... Oh, hang on, let me get focus. This guy went to a lot of length to try and get better at it, and as we all know, getting better at it, like, there's too much white there is my criticism for this. But, you know, that's just sadly how the cookie crumbles. There is a bit of blue behind it, but it doesn't really show. Whereas on the other guy, you can clearly see, I think, through this camera. I mean, I can see it in person more. Like, you can see there is that hint of blue behind. That's something I want to really get better at. And that's, you know, productivity in the hobby. I did invest a bit in Agents of the Imperium because I thought, you know what, Deathwatch were my originals. And also because, I'm not going to lie, this flyer to me, the Corvus Blackstar, is one of the coolest looking models on the tabletop. And that's just really one of them. You know, they were the faction that got me into the hobby. So I figured I kind of owe it. Other than that, that's pretty much what's cooking. For sake of convenience, if I were to try and expand the Primaris side out, I might say this is the specifically, like, first company color scheme. And the first company basically deal with engagements where other Imperials may be present. Because imagine if you're a Imperial, you know, a different faction Space Marine, and you see this guy rock up, you're going to be like, whoa, that's a Night Lord. But I plan on doing a lot more with the lore of this. I'll get more videos out like that. I'm not going to upload I'm not going to upload daily. Maybe every other day, just to showcase my 2 latest models. A lot shorter form content with showing off models, but then doing more, unless I'm like rambling like I am now. But yeah, the 2 paints I use for the lightning, by the way, I use Fenrisian Grey and White Skull, because I find they both go very fluidly onto a brush and are quite easy to apply in that context. Other than that, that's pretty much the whole gist. I will try and stay more sort of scheduled. Sorry, scheduled, I think is the British way of pronouncing it. I don't know anymore. But yeah, I have a whole list of models I need to buy. I really want to basically, once I get all these guys painted up, invest in a Chaos Predator. I think that's like up there. I really want the Nemesis Claw. That's also, like, I'm going to do a big buy when I get my paycheck at the end of the month, because right now I'm broke. But I want to get those 2. Possibly another, like, I feel like if I've got Warp Talons, I might want a Chaos Lord with Jump Pack. The one thing I will say is I'm not going to do the whole, oh, they're Night Lords, but they're good. No. Like, these guys are still awful humans. It's more so, in my headcanon, it's more true for a Night Lord to stay away from chaos than to go into it. I kind of have been thinking about getting a Titan, but that's going to be a reward once I have a set amount of points. Similarly, I really, one of my favorite models, have really wanted a Demon Prince with wings, so I'm planning on getting one of them at some point. And my Death Watch, as you can see back here, this guy is the first model I painted up, like from the new lot I got. Standard. Oh, but if I can get the light on it, you can see that Howling Griffin symbol looks a bit suspect. So my plan was basically I would have every different chapter, but it would actually be Alpha Legion. And all of my when I like work on my Imperial Agents in between, I want to make them all have some form of blue, silver, and green to symbolize that every Imperial Agent I have is an Alpha Legion agent. Just because that seems like something they do. Anyways, thank you for watching. Much appreciated. Apologies for the 8 months, 6 months, 9 months, something like that I've been gone. But here's to making this a more consistent channel again and trying to get back up there. I will probably try and spice some other videos in there, or splice some other videos in there, I should say. So stay tuned. As always, feedback is appreciated. If you have any ideas, because I'm always open to finding new ways to incorporate Night Lords and make them spicy, then just chuck them below. Thanks as always.